suing in upstate New York to reopen indoor dining. And now a state Supreme Court judge says Governor Andrew Cuomo must compromise or provide scientific evidence to support restrictions on bars and restaurants. Let's bring in New York City Council Republican Minority Whip Joe Borelli. Joe, great to see you this afternoon. Let me ask you this. When it comes to the Democrats talking about COVID-19, they always say we follow the science. Yet when it comes to closing bars and restaurants and these restrictions on indoor dining, they're not necessarily following the data. The data represented in this particular study, in this lawsuit rather, shows that 1.4% of the transmission only comes from indoor dining, but that 74% is coming from indoor gatherings at people's homes, right? Because you can't go out to the restaurant, so you're going to gather in the homes. You may have more people there. They may not be socially distanced and following the protocols, and hence more spread.
Right, and let's be clear about where this data even comes from. This data comes from the governor himself in the form of the state's contact tracing corps. So the governor himself did a scientific study finding out where coronavirus is spreading. They determined that restaurants and bars are not responsible for 99 or 98.4, right, percentage of the cases of coronavirus in the state. And still it's restaurants and bars and movie theaters that are being singled out still in this state. And unfortunately, the bar owners, the tavern keepers, and folks like that have no other option but to go to court. We saw this case yesterday be decided by the appellate division, confirming that the governor has stepped on some constitutional norms in barring religious gatherings. But keep in mind, the same day Governor Cuomo's state lawyers were there defending the ban on religious services, he was announcing plans to have 7,000 people at the Buffalo Bills Stadium to celebrate and watch their playoff, hopefully, victory in the coming weeks. I mean, this is just, it really does play into this idea of arbitrary and capricious, which is the grounds most lawsuits are filing on. And when you see the science and the logic behind some of these decisions, it's hard to argue that the governor's doing anything but being arbitrary and capricious.
And Joe, according to the New York City Hospitality Alliance, over 1,000 restaurants have closed. 88% of city restaurants can't pay their rent at this moment. I mean, this is a very crucial moment in time where these businesses can either go under or stay afloat. And Governor Cuomo has a choice to make here, but he's not really making it.
No, and we are one of the states with the strongest restrictions, and frankly, we don't have much to show for it. Our cases are spiking. They're spiking in areas where we have the strictest restaurant indoor dining regulations. And unfortunately, despite being the decision that he makes to shut these places down, he's one of the few governors that's not actively out there trying to make small businesses whole. Even Gavin Newsom, who gets a lot of criticism about coronavirus, California has began passing small business incentives, small business grants for folks that had to be shut down by their lockdowns. When it comes to our governor, we only hear crickets from him, unfortunately.
Yeah, and Newsom, of course, was criticized for dining out when he wanted everybody staying at home. But that's another separate topic. Thank you so much, Joe. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
All right.